saw it too. What are the odds? What are the odds? Hey, Tony P, what are the odds?
Beat a bow, what is going on? Man, that was loud. I'm excited. I don't know why. I guess I did a show last week, right? I don't know, man. I'm just excited to be here. Got a little bit of sleep, made some lunch, having a good day. And when I'm having a good day, I like to share it with you folks. If you listen, you've seen me here not having a good day, or you've heard me here where I'm like, man, stupid, weird news. But that's not today. Today we're doing all right. Oh man, you know what I did this weekend? I went to my first Cirque du Soleil show. Is that how you say it? Cirque du Soleil? Whatever. The French clown acrobats, man. I have never been. I've always wanted to go. I just, for some reason, was never in the right place at the right time. I know they got shows in New York. They got shows in Vegas. I've been to Vegas a couple times, but I never made it. Welp, here in Orlando at a place called Disney Springs, which is basically a Disney mall. I mean, it's ginormous, but it's where everybody goes once Disney closes. They have a permanent exhibit show or residency. That's what they call it. I think permanent exhibit is for art pieces. You know, this is a residency. And they had another show that just recently ended, and they brought in Drawn to Life. And it is the first like team up with official Disney stuff and Cirque du Soleil. I was like, yeah, check that out, man. And so I went with a friend, and it was amazing. Dude, my mind was blown. Legitimate mind blown. I have not been to anything in a while. No sort of like comedy or live entertainment or music, nothing. And once I got in there, I realized like how overdue I was and how great it was just to see some entertainment. Everybody was masked up. Don't at me. I know what you're, well, but everyone was masked up. Even the performers. And yeah, it was amazing. Like if you've been to a show before, you probably know what to expect. So yeah, there was more of that. There was like aerial acrobatics and this cool dance thing and clowns and stuff. And, you know, I don't want to spoil it for you if you find yourself coming out to Orlando. Heck, if you're coming to Orlando, holler at your boy. I'll go again. But it was basically like wrapped around, you know, a bunch of acrobatics and clown stuff wrapped around this Disney story of an artist who was drawing some stuff and completing some work of her dad, and how the creatively motivated, which was all up my alley. I was all in 100%. Like, again, if you know me, normally I'm like, all right, whatever, like kind of a passive observer. Man, I was in it. Like, man, it was a good time. It was super amazing. The, you know, there's a ton of people that put on that show. There's a lot of behind the scenes folks and tech folks, and all that stuff was awesome. And then there's the like front of the stage performers. You got some people doing some crazy stuff, man. I was stressed out. You're like, are they going to fall? What is going on? How do they do this? So yeah, I don't know. This is the, I'm not sponsored. But if Disney Drawn to Life Cirque du Soleil wants to sponsor me, sure. It has nothing to do with weird news at all. But that was my weekend. So I thought I would share. Before I went out, I did get a fresh haircut. If you're watching the video, you're like, what hair? Exactly. Because it was a fresh cut. The little bit that I still have, I like to shave it off, keep it clean, keep it fresh, looking smooth. And I did that. So why am I talking about haircuts? Well, it's a really bad transition into this week's story. Move aside, curtains. Ew, what? And make way for the mullet. The new must-have haircut for Britain's private school boys. That's a weird group right there. What are curtains? Is that a hair thing? I was a little confused. I still am. But yeah, Britain, private school. Let me tell you, man, I had a friend who was British. He still is, actually. Those British dudes are weird, man. I don't know. He doesn't listen to this, so I can talk about him. Dubbed the haircut of the year by ID, whatever that is, the much maligned trim has been cropping up on various mullets of Instagram pages. Starter pack memes, I can only assume, are funny to people with the ability to understand a school's Latin motto, and of course, private school TikTok parodies. I think this is from Vice. I was like, wow, this is an awfully creative written article. But yeah, Vice is trying to be funny. When Zachary, a 17-year-old boarder at an all-boys school in Kent, asked his friend to cut him a mullet, he wasn't concerned with how professional it looked or even whether it looked good or bad. Instead, his goal was simply a filthy mullet. In other words, a thick mullet with no blending and preferably a V shape. I have no idea. There's a lot of things I can say I've done so far on my time on this earth, but I have never had a mullet. And those days are behind me. So I will never have a mullet. And I'm proud of that. But anyway, this kid's inspiration stemmed from the fact that it's a funny haircut and I had a rugby game. Okay. I guess, a lot of people do like a mohawk or a faux hawk or something for sports. I just don't keep up with young white kids' hairstyles, man. Is this a thing again? I did do a story a while ago where it was like the U.S. Children's Mullet Championships or something. So I don't know. Maybe it's a thing. Sammy, is this the same kid? No, different kid. That was Zachary. This is Sammy, a 17-year-old boarder. I always think of collies. A 17-year-old boarder at a mixed school, damn, that's racist, in Warwickshire, described his current haircut as a 5 on top, 3 on the sides, and long in the back. He decided to take the mullet route because he thought it was a bit of a joke haircut. Everybody knows, the mullet is such an old, I feel like a Southern thing for a while. Maybe an 80s thing. I don't know. It was business in the front, party in the back. Likewise, 18-year-old Zach, also at a mixed school in the Southeast, told me that despite knowing he'd look like a complete knob, he opted, I'll let you guys Google that. I know what that means in British slang. He opted for a mullet because I thought it would be really funny. I saw a bunch of rugby players get it, and I was like, why not? Well, it's because they're rugby players, and they can probably beat up anybody that's making fun of them. So the mullet is popular because it looks funny, as good a reason as any, I suppose. But there are plenty of funny looking haircuts. The bowl or the O2 Ronaldo. I know who Ronaldo is, soccer player. I have no idea what he was rocking in O2. But why is the mullet specifically taken off? Well, for Sammy, there's an irony to the mullet haircut. It's this distinguishedly gross haircut, which means it's definitely worn in an ironic way. For Zach, it's purely that when you see a mullet, it's just funny. So that's it. There's this long article about these boys. It's just kind of funny. Jemima Bradley, who goes by @mulletbaby on Instagram, and that's 2 Y's, by the way. MULLETBABY. Apparently, mullet baby, 1 Y was already taken. But anyway, Jemima Bradley is a queer hairdresser and expert on all things mullet. She's been cutting them for 2 years. After initially being drawn to the style as a way for people to explore themselves, explore their identity, and for her to explore herself. That's cool. I mean, I really support that, but the mullet, that's the one you go with. I want everyone to explore everything about themselves and be who you are, but the mullet, that's not creative. Jemima explained that the haircut has historically been seen on music legends, punks, skinheads, queers, and even cowboys, which makes its newfound popularity with private school boys somewhat surprising. What's old is new. What's old is new, and that's how, look. It's not knew that, we'll say, mainstream catches up to the outcast of the world and then takes, like, you know, the Mohawk, 80s punk. Eventually, because people didn't want to commit to it, they did a faux hawk, where you just kind of spiked the hair up. If everybody could grow an afro, they would have had afros by now. But according to Jemima, that's what makes it the newfound popularity with private school boys somewhat surprising. If you look back to the 70s, according to her, lesbians took on the mullet to show their quote-unquote dykeness. Then in the 80s, the mullet became popular with pop stars, and from then on, people of all kinds and backgrounds had a mullet. Huh. That's interesting to me. And then according to this, by the 1990s, the style had become widely satirized and ridiculed. And I think that's when it was supposedly a Southern redneck thing, although clearly they didn't make up the mullet. But whatever the reason, it's back now. The what is she? Hairdresser Jemima is back, and she explained that this mullet renaissance began with queer people and fashion, and they went up to pop stars like Miley Cyrus and even Zendaya, who you may know from Spider-Man, No Way Home, and now it's in mainstream society. Huh. So let me know. Are you thinking about getting a mullet? Do you want to be hip and cool and popular? Do you want to be like the British private school kids? As I've mentioned already, I can say with 101% confidence, I will never have a mullet.